The Durham District School Board acknowledges that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships, both historic and modern, with the territories upon which our school board and schools are located. Today, this area is home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island. We acknowledge that the Durham region forms a part of the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, the Mississauga peoples, and the treaty territory of the Chippewas of Georgina Island First Nation. It is on these ancestral and treaty lands that we teach, learn, and live.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Peck, and I teach music at U.S.S. Tonight, I have the great honor of presenting this year's valedictorian. How is it possible to encapsulate the essence of such a remarkable human being in a short intro speech? Perhaps this Maya Angelou quote is a great place to start. They may forget what you said, they may forget what you did, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Though I could list her immeasurable academic achievements and involvement in numerous extracurricular activities, her greatest gift lies in her ability to deeply connect with everything and everyone around her. If you've shared a class, an experience, or even a moment with Emma Webb, I'm certain you felt it. Mr. Begg describes Emma as an old soul with wisdom beyond her years. I met Emma 3 years ago in a large-spirited grade 10 music class and was immediately taken aback at the maturity in her sound and her ability to pair her vast technical proficiency on the trumpet with beautiful, expressive phrasing. It's like you could hear her heart as she brought life and energy to the notes on the page. The other things I noticed about Emma were strikingly quiet, but equally powerful. Her focus, warmth, kindness, and calm, all aligning with that old soul concept. On the 2019 Vimy trip, and as a member of the Sam Sharp Club, Emma upheld a leadership role and worked tirelessly to ensure veterans were honored and remembered. Miss McDonald spoke of the special connection she made with our local veterans, and that in fact, only 2 weeks ago, one of the 96-year-old vets asked, "How's Emma?" Yet again, testament to her ability to build meaningful, lasting relationships. Her gift of connection isn't limited to people, but also extends to her love of learning. Miss Condi emphasized that her meticulous nature, intellectual acuity, and natural curiosity will contribute to Emma's success in the future. Whether it's an extensive study of the brain, consistent practice leading to a perfect score on a calculus test, insightful analysis of a book in English class, or a heartfelt performance, Emma smashes through all expectation to satisfy her intrinsic quest for knowledge and further deepen her connection to it. Miss Smale points out she is fiercely dedicated to her studies, but also considerate, caring, and uplifting to those around her. Miss Martins added that Emma is quietly confident, talented, hardworking, and brave, noting she always had her camera on. And that was a connection we all craved, teaching and learning in an online world. Regardless of the context, the Emma effect is rooted in profound connection, building meaningful relationships with quiet compassion. She is committed to making everyone around her feel better. Miss Bowering reflected on Emma's empathy, noting that no matter what she herself may be carrying, she always took the time to ask how you were doing. As a leader, she guides with vision and grit. As a friend, she is thoughtful and kind. And, when necessary, she faces adversity with courage and the perseverance to overcome it, all while extending a hand to lift up those around her. This is Emma, and tonight, so fittingly, she has been chosen to speak on your behalf about a class with incredible character and connection. I am so proud to introduce the valedictorian for the U.S.S. graduating class of 2021, Miss Emma Webb.
Miss Peck, thank you so much for the warm introduction. You've played one of the biggest roles in my high school experience, and I am so grateful for all you have taught me. To the rest of the teachers at U.S.S., thank you for believing in us no matter what. And to my fellow graduates, thank you for allowing me to stand here and represent you. I am truly honored. Class of 2021, we made it. I know that sounds cliche, but I can't think of a more appropriate year to celebrate this accomplishment. When we walked into U.S.S. on the first day of school 1,392 days ago, we had no idea how much was in store for us. Even in grade 10, when we thought we knew what the next 2 years of our lives would look like, we had no idea. Not only has so much changed, but the change has been constant. You have had to adapt to the uncertainty, You've learned to find comfort in the discomfort. You have become okay with not knowing all the answers. And if I were to choose one theme that represents us, it would be resilience. This past year alone has presented each of you with challenges big and small. Moving back and forth from in-person to online learning, not being able to see family and friends, finishing high school with the click of a button, and just watching the world unfold like this. Difficult does not begin to describe it. Yet, despite it all, here you are. You have pushed through and you have made it. This is no small achievement, and today it is not just your graduation that is being celebrated, your tenacity and resilience is being honored as well. You have grown so much since grade 9. There was a point when we didn't know how to get to the cafeteria from the tech hall. There was a point when all we were worried about was the OSSLT. There was a day when you tried a calf cookie for the first time, a day when you wrote your first exam, and a day when you wrote your last exam, although you didn't know it at the time. Your first U.S.S. tournament, your first spirit week, your first study hall, your first leadership camp weekend, your first spare, your first time driving to school with friends. It's important to look back on all your firsts and recognize how far you have come. But it's also important to remember that there are so many more firsts on their way. Some of them may include your first time moving away, your first job, your first time meeting the people who will make you wonder how you ever lived without them. There are so many firsts that await you. And speaking of firsts, I remember the first day of science class in grade 9. Miss Brown broke the news that we weren't allowed our backpacks in the lab unless they could fit under the chair. I was one of those people who carried a backpack so full you would wonder what I even used my locker for. But I was terrified of breaking the rules, so I went to science class every day with my arms full of my 2-inch binder, my notebook, my textbook, my pencil case, my water bottle, and even my music folder. And it took only about 4 weeks for me to realize that there was enough space under the chair after all, and the arm strain wasn't necessary. Now, some of you have shared similar stories with me from grade 9, like spending your whole lunch hour searching for your locker on the main floor, only to realize it's actually upstairs. Or walking through the grade 12 hall with your head down and running into the pole that separates the doors. I'm not going to pretend that we all had identical high school experiences or that we were all best friends. We all found our way at different paces and in different ways. Some of us spent hours every day in the drama room preparing for the next play. Some of us had guidance as our home base, closely involved in whatever the next exciting event or announcement would be. Some of us took advantage of the weight room equipment and made fitness a priority. Some of us held more paintbrushes than pencils. Some of us became accustomed to the inevitable splinters in woodshop class. Some of us spent every spare moment studying for that test that was always coming up. Some of us found family in the music room and joined every band just to find that connection. Of course, most of us drifted from hallway to hallway. We all found ourselves in different areas of the school, but there were times when we were brought together and the walls came down. Like leadership camp, Relay for Life, Terry Fox Run. Those moments when you remembered just how many of us there were, and that brief shock from seeing someone you forgot you went to school with. I was always struck with the realization of how many walls there were separating us from each other. Like the math hall feels so different from the English hall, and life in the dungeon is not the same as life in the history hall. Sometimes it was easy for us to stay separated by the walls of our hallways, both literally and figuratively. I'm sure you've heard of that myth that if the atoms in a wall aligned correctly, you could walk through it. Well, since we're graduating, we don't have to discuss the physics behind how accurate that is, but it does apply to the analogy of our time at U.S.S. No matter what area of the school you spent your time in, the school welcomed all of us the same. Today, we have been brought together again, and although we aren't all in the same room, we can still feel that love and sense of community. Everything you have learned over the past 4 years will help you as you move forward, and I'm not just talking about knowing how to find the slope of a line. You never know when someone will ask you what scene and what act Romeo and Juliet died in. Sorry for the spoiler. You also never know if you'll ever be in a job interview and that final question is based on whether or not you can sing that periodic table song. I know you know the one I'm talking about. More importantly, your individual experiences, even the most painful ones, will help you as you move forward. You never know when, you never know how, but they will. Throughout high school, you've learned to live with intention, and during this pandemic, you've learned how trials and changed plans change your character. As poet Walt Whitman once said, "These are the days that must happen to you." We are made of memories. Not the kind of memories that get left behind in the past, but the kind that connects with the deepest, most genuine parts of yourself. And I don't believe we are always meant to realize these core memories as we are experiencing them. There can be magic in retrospect, after all. So yes, try to live in the present. Try to listen to the music instead of hear it. Try to absorb as much as you can while you can. And trust that the moments who make up you aren't over at a certain time or at a certain date. Stop to smell the roses, and then when you're back on the road, search for that next patch of flowers. You're at a point in your life when there's a lot of unknown, but there is also so much potential. You're used to high school, and I know change can be scary. I know you will miss that strong sense of community, how everyone, whether it be a new face or your best friend, felt like family. But you're steering the wheel now. Any dream you have, chase it. You don't know what's going to happen, but the journey is what makes up who you are. In all of this uncertainty, be certain. Be certain that you will end up where you're meant to be. Be certain that even if things seem scary, you will remind yourself they won't be that way forever. Be certain that you will make the right decision, and also be certain that you are only human if you make the wrong one. Remember your resilience. Let me remind you that the word commencement means beginning. So while we are celebrating this ending, we are also celebrating the beginning of our futures. If the act of reflecting was like climbing a mountain, you are at a crest, not the peak. As much as there is to look back on, there is even more to look forward to. As Miley Cyrus once said, "Ain't about how fast I get there, ain't about what's waiting on the other side, it's the climb." Maybe it's because this particular group of people all have deeper narratives to fulfill. Maybe it's because of our individual challenges and wake-up calls. Or maybe it's because of spending the last year and a half of high school in a pandemic. Whatever the reason is, each of you has an extraordinary path ahead. So take that step, climb that mountain, and chase that dream. Your life awaits.
Hello, graduates. My name is Carolyn Morton, and I'm the chair of the DDSB Board of Trustees. On behalf of the Board of Trustees at the Durham District School Board, we are so proud to congratulate you on this major accomplishment. Often this ceremony signifies the conclusion of one chapter of our lives and the beginning of a new chapter that has yet to be written. This last year of school was not what anyone wanted or expected. We all hoped our routines would have returned to normal. In spite of this, you persevered. You succeeded in completing your studies and taught us that we can all move forward despite the challenges we will face in life. This is also a time for us to reflect and to give thanks. We give thanks for the many relationships and the bonds that we have forged and nurtured with fellow students and teachers. We are grateful for the varied programs and the rich experiences which have been provided by our educators and our coaches. There are many opportunities ahead for you, whether it's the opportunity of a post-secondary education at college or university, the opportunity to pursue a skilled trade through an apprenticeship program, or the chance to enter the world of work. We are thankful for our choices and the support of our families and community. Your secondary school diploma means the beginning of new challenges and the promise of success in the future. Remember that education is not limited to schools which you attend. It is a lifelong process. Adopting the mindset of a lifelong learner will serve you well. Continually adding knowledge and skill sets to your arsenal will equip you to manage the many changes and challenges which you will encounter. Be proud of the person that you have become. Take pride in your accomplishments. Contemplate your goals, then proceed with passion and confidence. Thank you, parents and guardians, grandparents and educators, for being positive role models for our graduates. You've provided strong root systems which will anchor and guide, but you've also provided and allowed our young people to grow and spread their wings. You too, families and teachers, should celebrate the success of our children and our students. On a final note, graduates, on behalf of the Durham District School Board, I wish each of you good fortune and much success in future endeavors and happiness wherever life may lead you. It is now time to start planning and writing that next chapter. Stay strong, stay safe, and be well. Have a great summer. And once again, congratulations. Thank you.
Hello. I'm appreciative of the invitation to add my congratulations to the graduating class of 2021. You are indeed a unique class. You began high school in grade 9, anticipating the normal process to unfold. I don't think any of us predicted how our lives would change beginning in March 2020. You've made it through extraordinary times filled with uncertainty and challenge. So let me begin by saying, give yourself a huge pat on the back for being a graduate despite the tough times that have fallen on us. You are what history will reference many years from now. With your graduation also comes the light at the end of the tunnel in terms of the pandemic. We're all optimistic that conditions for life are changing. I want you to know that as I've seen classes learning this year and reaching out, I've been incredibly moved by the optimism of this generation and your willingness to stand up and make a difference. We know that the pandemic impacted those in vulnerable situations the hardest. I have seen your compassion and care for community. While these past days have been tough ones, my hope is that moving forward, we create a kinder and more community-oriented world as a result of what we have experienced. This pandemic has shown us the importance of the collective, that we're all interdependent, and that we understand the importance of putting community safety before individualistic desires. Thank you to each of you for all that you've given to your school and to the broader community. I want to acknowledge your family and our staff during this celebration. Thank you to them for the times that they've assisted you in your learning and well-being. We've all become much more familiar and flexible as remote learning has dominated the school year. This pandemic has reinforced how we're all learners and the importance of compassion and care. The wonder of science as we saw how research and public health policy developed through almost lifetime evidence. The joy of art as we saw poets such as the young American Amanda Gorman inspire the world with her spoken word, The Hill We Climb. And closer to home as school communities shifted creatively into trying to build a new kind of learning and connection. I feel every confidence that you will move forward and create a meaningful path from this point. Sometimes those paths may not be linear, and that's okay, as long as you're continuing to learn and to strive to be informed by kindness and social justice. I know that you've been shaped by what you have experienced, and I also know that your school and families did all they could to support you in succeeding. Tonight, please also take the opportunity to reach out and thank the individuals who have made a difference in your life and encouraged you in your journey. A life shaped by gratitude is a life that is bound to be rewarding as you give thanks for good things. So once again, my sincere congratulations on your accomplishment. I look forward to welcoming you back as Durham District School Board alumni at future events.
Welcome, graduates, family, and friends. My name is Brent Woodward, and it's an honor to provide principal remarks here today at Uxbridge Secondary School's virtual ceremony. Today I stand before you very proud to be the principal. The only sad piece for me is that I only got to spend 1 year with a graduating class, and with it being such a unique year, we really never got to know each other. By all staff accounts, and with some really positive interactions, I feel you're a fantastic group of young adults. These celebrations of student achievement bring for me reflection. I've been recalling my graduation and my senior years at high school. After 4 years in the school, the network of friends continued to grow. It was at this point in my journey where I felt like we all knew each other and we had some big plans for our next steps. We all had an understanding of how big the world was with its many opportunities. We felt like the school had begun to shrink and didn't seem to meet our needs any longer, a feeling that something else was out there. In my final year, I became good friends with a guy by the name of Hendrik. Hendrik was a first-generation Canadian, and he was one of those people that could just about do anything. Everyone in our graduating class knew Hendrik, and he was voted as most likely to succeed. He approached everything he did with confidence, even when he wasn't very good at the thing he was doing. Hendrik played hockey, but wasn't very good. He took wood shop and made a piece of furniture like the ones I see carried home by students at Uxbridge. He got nervous during exam time, but he knew how to appear calm. He took risks, but never the kind that would end up on a fail army video montage. Just an average guy, but you knew he would make it, whatever he chose to do. Hendrik left our high school, and with no surprise from anyone, he went on to get a degree, go to law school, pass the bar, and start his practice. After a few years of practicing law, Hendrik knew he was not able to continue to be passionate about his chosen profession. He took on a completely different career, one that he found more rewarding, and one he dabbled in through high school and university. Hendrik became a carpenter. But not just any carpenter, as Hendrik became a master carpenter. World-renowned and author in many woodworking and craft magazines, Hendrik successfully navigated the profession and traveled, taught, wrote, and lectured around the world. Over the last couple of years, his passion for carpentry, not yet waning, saw him taking on a different challenge. He took up cooking, and using the techniques of his father, originally from Hungary, and his mother, originally from Mexico, turned a hobby into another career. His passion and perseverance is unbelievable. He's now an accomplished chef who teaches, writes cookbooks, and provides private dinner parties. I tell you about Hendrik not to brag about my friend, but to reflect on patterns I see in many people like Hendrik, former students, friends, or colleagues. Your future does not necessarily have to travel in a straight line to your destination. It's about navigating the turns. When failure is perceived to be temporary, you can accomplish just about anything. Fear of failure is the thief of passion. Use your resources to push through the fear. Passion and persistence can help you accomplish amazing things. Look back only to see how far you've come. Lessons learned in resilience will serve you well, and you are resilient. Graduates, receiving your diploma brings closure to your days as a high school student. I hope that you remember the good times, your friends, and your teachers. Cherish these memories of Uxbridge. Speaking for the staff, we hope that your time spent at Uxbridge has prepared you well for the path that you've chosen. I wish you all every success on life's journey, and I'm extremely confident in saying, I know you'll continue to make us proud. Congratulations, graduates, and thank you for watching our virtual graduation process. Turn your tassel and throw your caps.